I'm the front act, okay? Let me just kind of loosen up the audience a little bit so that when Danya comes down here, you're fully in the mode of listening and learning from her rather than listening to me. What's interesting about being a planner and the host of affairs like this is I rarely get to be a presenter, which really doesn't bother me all that much. And I'm not doing a seminar here, but what I would like to share with you, since Danya is going to be talking about marketing, share my favorite marketing story with you. And sometimes the best stories are the true stories, and this one is a true story. It has to do with my now 24-year-old grandson, Travis. When he was in high school, he raced small-scale NASCAR. They weren't NASCAR, but they had a different series. They called them legend cars or whatever. And he got so good at it, he actually won a national championship at 16. Got his driver's license at 17, got an invitation from Tony Stewart's team to be an intern. But he needed to get a NASCAR license to be able to drive Stewart's cars, even for practice and tests. So we rented the racetrack, the stock car track in Anderson, Indiana. And I had some, I'd been helping sponsor him for 3 or 4 years. And so I had contacts, and I got a Hooters car. Hooters car is a full-size stock car, set up in a certain fashion, easily picks up at 200, 210 miles an hour, but not much faster. I mean, who wants to go any faster than that? So we had the 2 NASCAR officials come out, and they talked to Travis. He was about 6'2", and they said, "Trav, we're going to get on the track, because he's hooked to him with radio, and we're going to push you. At a certain point, to see how you handle this car under high speeds." I'm going, Travis, he's like a kid that just died going to heaven. I mean, his first real runs in a full-size stock car. He gets out there and he pumps it up 150 miles an hour, 170 miles an hour, 190 miles an hour. He's going down the back stretch and he loses it. And I'm seeing a $250 million car, my investment for the day, going down the track like this. They caught it at the corner, came back out, started around, picked up speed. Goes 3 or 4 more laps, cuts back up to 195 miles an hour, loses it again. I thought, shit. That's exactly what I said to myself. And so he catches it again. So they let him run a few more laps. And then they say, "Okay, Trav, go on in." So he comes in, and here's this 6'2", 17-year-old high school kid, just haven't had a full-size NASCAR out there at 195 miles an hour. And he's climbing out. He had the biggest smile on his face you could imagine. I had seen that twinkling in the eye of one of the NASCAR guys. I knew something was up, but I didn't know what. So this guy walks over to Travis, and he slaps him on the back and says, "Son, you just passed the 4 tests of being a championship NASCAR driver." Well, Travis looking at him thinking, "Hey man, I thought there was 1 test, drive this sucker fast." And they said, "Well, that's right." No, he didn't say that, but he said, "Yep, you've proven to us that you can handle a full-size stock car under high speeds." But second, he says, "You're young and you're handsome." He said, "Third," he said, "this afternoon we've been with you, you haven't said duh once." And fourth, best of all, he says, what was fourth? Fourth, best of all, he said, when you climbed down that car and you smiled, you had a full set of teeth. And I thought that was a tremendous commentary on where NASCAR racing had come from the booze days, the bootlegging days, to today, where not only can you have to drive fast, but when you get out there and millions of people are watching you on television, you better look handsome and have a full set of teeth, or otherwise, you don't gain the sponsors. So I thought that was a pretty interesting little commentary on marketing. It reminded me of another quickie. Here's much quicker. And most of you in this room are not old enough to remember this. Back in the 1960s, there was a food, a supposed food out in the San Francisco Bay Area called the spider crab. Spider crab's body was about big around. His tentacles or legs were easy that long. I mean, it looked like a gigantic spider. They couldn't give those things away to people. They were edible. They couldn't give them away. Why do you think they couldn't give them away? Because people didn't like the idea of eating a big spider. Well, guess what they call that spider crab today?
King crab.
King crab. And I don't think there's anybody that goes to San Francisco these days and goes down to the piers and doesn't go buy one freshly steamed. They wrap it in newspapers, they make a mallet, and they buy them back the crap out of it and give it to you. You get a 6-pack of beer, and then you walk out to the end of the pier and you think you've died and gone to heaven if you like crab and beer. So it was all in the change of a name from spider crab to king crab that made something go from something no one would touch to one of the most popular delicacies. You know. Anyway, I thought you'd be interested in those two little stories. So with that saying, we had a rare treat yesterday, and you're about to experience it now. In the Danya Malad, right? Did I get that right?
Malad, yeah.
Okay, now, I'm getting better every time I introduce her. Kim is down here from Michigan with Kristina, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to come down here and talk to you about, I don't know whether they're going to mind me saying it this way, but what I walked away from yesterday feeling was, and I loved it, is I finally heard someone really describe how to take the high road, the effective road, to fill in vacant sites in manufactured home communities. So would you help me welcome them down here as our speakers?
I don't know if I can follow that act. That was pretty good. So I was planning on just hanging here. I was going to sit by Rob wherever he went. He just left. Did he leave?
Yeah.
He did. But anyway, so we're going to be up here because they're filming. Is that okay? Okay. All right, so just to start, this is our first slide. Customer experience is defined as the sum total of conscious events, as coordinated series of interactions between a customer and a brand to accomplish anything. Above all words, a customer experience is defined by the customer. That's kind of like the big takeaway today is oftentimes we assume we know what value means to a customer or what they want to see because it's what we like. And so that's what we shove down their throats rather than really understanding the customer's perspective and what value means to them. The customer for the customer at each touch point each time. Okay. So what we've done at Home First is a little bit different, is we wanted to go ahead and create a completely different experience. So when I first came over 3 years ago to join Kenny, they took me around to the different communities, and I had come from new home construction where I was used to, you had a sales center, a model home, it was staged, it was furnished, you baked cookies, it smelled really, really good when you walked inside, a little music, they offered you refreshments, and became very engaging, and then began to ask me several questions about my needs. So that's the environment I came from, and I found it odd that wasn't the setup. In fact, and if you don't mind me telling everybody, the transformation we underwent, most of the salespeople were in homes that were built in the 90s, and you went and visited them there, and they were old and dated and kind of didn't smell so great, and garbage was overflowing out of the trash cans, and everything was really messy, and I kind of got the heebie-jeebies, like, oh, I don't feel like comfortable here, not because of the environment I came from, but nobody felt prepared. And oh, by the way, I couldn't even leave with a piece of information to tell me what the inventory was. That was a little strange for me at first. So we decided to completely have a makeover and said, well, what do people really want to know? What's most important? If you were driving past the community, what would you want to see? And what I had heard most of the time was, all they care about is monthly payment. All they care about is monthly payment. So we said, well, let's change our signage to suggest where we start in monthly payment. Now, we happen to have a rental portfolio, so we sell and we rent. So to us, it was really important to take our lowest price, whatever you're going to drag people in on, and make sure that we advertised it. Immediate occupancy homes available. And I asked, well, who are our competitors? And kind of everybody was just sort of a little unsure. Well, we think apartments. Well, a lot of people that maybe are living with family. And I said, well, then if that's who we're competing with, then we have to make sure that the experience looks better. Okay. Really manicured entrance. So we're going to take you through, if you were in one of our communities, you're driving past or going through, what you're going to see. So this is coming in through our boulevard. You just got to see the entrance. We have these little things, they call them vermichets in the marketing world. Vermichets are little silent salesmen that tell you a little bit about what you might want to know driving through the community. In this case, playground and fitness centers. This is our clubhouse. Because we have a separate sales operation, we don't really want people to first stop in the clubhouse. We want them to come see us in our information centers. So Home Information Center, pointing you in the right direction. Look at that, it tells you where to go. And then you arrive. And yes, it's a gorgeous Clayton. We don't discriminate though, we love all brands in this particular case. And you can see that a little more in the way of Burma shades to tell you a little bit about us and the community and what you're about to see upon walking through the entrance door. So this is coming up the sidewalk, you've got the flags, everything is really well indicated. A lot of times people drive by after work. I like to make sure we have information for folks. This is where you're in an age now where every information is one click away. So I hate when I hear people tell me, well, we want them in the sales office, so we're not going to post everything online. We're not going to put a brochure outside. Do you know what you've done when you do that? Anyone?
You just killed the lead.
You're not even going to see them again.
Right.
Because they're going to go where they can find information today. They don't have a lot of time, especially in our market. People work. They work 5-6 days a week. They're almost, a lot of them are hourly. They don't have time to mess around. You want to give them information? They don't want to do business with you. So, you walk in, sound, smell, taste, touch, all of that's really critical, we think. We really want to appeal to all the sensories, and we want people to feel super engaged. So, we have a major rule. The door opens, I have little fingers on the door. I want to hear when the door is opening up. 30 seconds. The rule is 30 seconds. You don't keep them waiting any longer in your lobby area. So we have some engaging things happening right in that space. We've got signage that they can look at and read. That signage talks a little bit about the community, about the amenities, and about manufactured housing living. And then normally we have the popcorn machine going. We've got some refreshments in the refrigerator, and we're going to go ahead and have some snacks on the counter. So we want people to feel like they've been welcomed into someone's home at that moment. We've got candles burning. The candle that we've created, I don't have it. Oh, we do have a sample of it. All right, we've got a sample of it. This is a scent that we created for all of our locations. So when you walk in, sometimes you'll walk into a car dealership and it like has this really great scent. And you're, what is that? Well, we do the same thing. We do that in our clubhouses and in our sales offices.
So we have like jazz music in the back.
Jazz music in the background, and everything is staged. So it's really nice. It's trendy furniture. And the reason we do that is we really wanted to get away from the stigma of it's a trailer park, right? That word, I hate it. We don't call it a park, we call it a community. I like shudder when people call it a park. It drives me insane. I'm like, what's a park? I don't understand. This is a community. This is where people live. This is where people raise their children. And here are the signs that we were talking about. So you'll see that we talk a little bit about the community, the area overall. A lot of times people are looking at manufactured housing as an option. They're not from that local city. So they don't know what's going on. They don't know where the local grocery stores are. And we want to make sure we highlight some of the things that are important to them about the area.
And those signs, they're like 3 by 6.
Yeah, they're bigger than me. Yeah.
They hang on the wall.
We don't need artwork. So we use really wonderful graphics about the brand and about community living. This is obviously a site map. Unbelievable that I would walk into locations and I couldn't get my bearings. And I look at my competitors. Where am I in proximity to the site you're going to show me, or what nobody could tell you. Or I'll get one that's been Xeroxed like 3,000 times and it's like half faded and you're going, okay, this is a really nice document I get to take home to my spouse, you know? That's awesome. So clubhouse and amenities, one of the things that we do, once a customer comes through, it's important to us that we take them through a sales path, if you will. Once we show them homes, we want to make sure that we highlight the community, the amenities. Now they have a really nice map. In fact, the map that we hand them looks like the map that you just saw up there. So that was a big sign, but we obviously have those in little minis. Take you to the clubhouse. And a few years ago, we went ahead and said, let's renovate all of our clubhouses. Some of them were 10 plus years old, and we wanted to bring them into 2015, 2016. So Kenny allowed me the opportunity to throw in some new floors, paint the walls, just upgrade some things and bring in new furniture. We now have people having weddings in them. Not just birthday parties or shower, weddings. Weddings, that's a big deal. Clearly the playgrounds are important, so even, you know, somebody that has children or doesn't have children, they maybe have grandchildren, it's nice to see that we have stuff like this. Pool. So this was really important to us. I could never tell who the staff was apart from, is that the cleaning lady? And that even happened on the sales staff that I was acquiring. I would walk into a location thinking, it's gotta be the cleaning lady. And nope, it wasn't the cleaning lady. She was actually the woman selling homes and frustrated and irritated that nobody buys homes there. And I'm thinking, I couldn't even tell that you were the person I was supposed to go to for information. So quickly, we put in place a dress code policy. Our sales professionals are gonna look like professionals and somebody that's gonna have some leverage over you and be somebody who's gonna have information that you can trust. And then all of our maintenance staff, our technicians, everyone across the board are going to be identified in Home First shirts and these cute little tags. We're turning for $10, we get these cute little tags. For $15, we can get these cute little polos, and everybody looks nice. So when that maintenance tech is knocking on someone's door, they're not like running and hiding, going, act like we're at home because I don't know who's at the door because he's creeping me out. They look normal, they look professional. So all business attire, name tags, seems to be working really well, and I think our residents really appreciate it. And it's really upgraded. That's one of the pieces that's actually upgraded the look of our own communities, the image of our communities. So this is a big deal to us in the marketing world. So I was trying to grasp all the inventory that we had. And looking at some reports that allowed me to see how long inventory had been sitting there and why it wasn't moving. So the salesperson would know, oh, I can't afford it, or they just didn't like that floor plan. And I thought to myself, in a time where really the housing market, stick the housing market, people weren't buying homes, this should be a great alternative. I'm not understanding it. And then I'm finding that apartment buildings are 99, 100% full. So you can't tell me that this isn't a good option. Something is amiss here. And I started to go through all the inventory, quite a bit of it actually. And what I found was things were not coordinated. We had contractors that were just coming in, throwing whatever was in the back of their truck into a home and deciding what the house was going to look like. Can anybody tell me if a couple comes in who the decision maker is?
The woman.
So guess what? We got Bubba, who just decided what was going to go in the home you were going to pick, really? So we created color packages, and I think now we're probably up to about 10 of these, much like the factories have decor boards. That's all it is. And so what it does is it says to Mr. Contractor, you're going to put this paint color in the house, you're going to put this countertop in the house, and you're going to put this floor in the house. Okay? We all have seen this. Everybody's familiar with this. So a lot of operators are like, just clean it up. Clean it. Doesn't matter that it stinks like, cat urine. Just clean it up and keep that carpet because we don't want to spend any money. Try to get the perishables out of there, Looks good, doesn't it? So this home, probably on the NADA, this was like I think a 56 or 60 box home, 1999 if I remember correctly. This home was worth about $29,900. Don't touch it, go ahead, sell it. But if you do this, that kitchen is the before, that's the after, with one of those color packages. See it again, family room. We threw some hardwood in over there in the eating area. That's like a laminate. Oh, we cleaned up the bathroom, got rid of the little baby seat. You don't see the floral on the walls anymore. Yeah, the tub's not yellow. We glaze it white. Thanks for picking up on that. Now we sold it for $49,900 2 weeks later. Pretty incredible difference. Not only was there a little margin in it, but yeah, we did put $10,000 in it, but I got it back for him 2 weeks later, so it really didn't matter. Home staging. I said, well, people have a hard time visualizing, especially because in some cases, you get a 48 or 52 box home, even a 56 box. Secondary bedroom sizes can be a little smaller. If they have come from a home that they have lost or, in an apartment, they're just not sure how to set things up. People are very visual. So he said, you should stage them. Stage some homes. This one in particular, it's a really nice home, Clayton builds, it's a Patriot. We brought this home in and I said, I wonder how many of these I could sell if I furnished one and staged it. So not the model home that we're sitting in, but just a home in my community. We brought 4 of those in, had it staged. We had 4 competing offers on this home. And then I said 4 of them in, all 4 sold. Within a couple of weeks. So this is how I expedite filling, moving homes, moving inventory. We don't want things to stay stagnant. Here's another one. This is a Champion. Well, shout out to Champion. Sales training techniques. How many of you actually have a sales organization versus the community managers selling for you? Is everybody here, the community manager is the salesperson? How much ongoing sales training do you have for community managers? Anyone have training?
Probably quarterly.
Quarterly?
We do something quarterly at least.
What kind of training is offered?
Well, some of the things we do, for example, when we mystery shop our people, that
Yeah.
service actually provides modules and training, documents and
Perfect.
visual videos that the folks can see to
Yeah.
learn from. That's one thing that we do. Obviously, the regional managers go in and try to make sure that all the steps, part of the marketing and the sales, are being done. So that's what comes to mind right
That's
now.
actually really good to hear. That's
Yeah.
super good to hear. So we do monthly training. We go out to the communities weekly and do rounds weekly. So we're doing one-on-one, but we're also doing group training as well on a monthly basis. The reason I think it's important is things have to be fresh. People get pumped up, they're in the zone, you want them to go back out and execute while they're in the zone. So while you're doing it 4 times a year, I would suggest doing it 12 times a year, 15 times a year, it doesn't matter. When it's in your head, you're gonna go try it on that next customer. And then when you're doing things repetitively, you're gonna get better at it. Just like watching, game film, or just like football teams practice daily, our trade has to be practiced daily. You can't get better at it otherwise. So we do monthly training, we do rewards and accolades. I think it's a big deal. We all want to know when we're doing a good job. We do something called kudos cards, so that our company culture is better developed and we're all aligned, because I say, while not everybody is in the sales organization, everybody better be in the sales organization, because we're all working towards getting more customers in our doors and having residents. We do the mystery shops and scorecards as well. I do them yearly. We use it as a coaching tool, so no one ever feels threatened. And the first year we did them, people were in like the 60th percentile. Second year we did them, they were like in the 80th percentile. This year the majority of my group was over 90%, which is almost a perfect score.
Excellent.
What are mystery shops? I don't understand.
Mystery shops is when you have somebody come in, and I create different profiles with the company that I work with. There's a company out of Florida that I happen to use. And I'll say, I want a single mom with 2 kids, or I want a retiring couple, and I want them to have very little money and bad credit. And I end up sending them in. They have a little camera, and the entire thing is taped and it's filmed. So we have to make sure that they cover all of the sales steps that's required of them. And we look at some of the ways that we can improve through those shops. And it's incredible when people see themselves on tape. I had one gal have like a little bit of a tick. There was a kind of a tick she didn't even know she had. And when she watched it, she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I do this, So she's been able to improve upon it. It's little things that we adjust. Cross-departmental training, I think it's important that people understand. For example, I feel like community managers they wear so many hats and they have so many granular details that they have to focus on, and it's a tough job. So we do cross-departmental training. I want my sales staff to be working alongside of them and shadow them for an entire day. Switch seats with them, see what they go through. Let's see, now how you understand how you impact them. Same with the accounting department, same with our service department. Everybody does a little bit of this and they come away just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So when you're asking for something that's a little bit challenging for them that day, now you understand why they couldn't get to it. And it's kind of made everybody a lot closer so that we can become, less departmentalized and a little bit more unified. And then lead follow-up. lead follow-up has to happen. We get leads coming through our website on a daily basis. We get tons of leads that come through. Lead follow-up has to happen within 2 hours of the lead coming in. I generally like it to be within 2 minutes if it's possible. So the lead gets farmed back out to the sales location, and usually we're able to set appointments that same week. What happens is when people are online, they're doing their search, they're trying to get information, they're trying to figure out what kind of monthly payment they're going to be in. But when they can talk to somebody live and we can close them on coming in for an appointment, it's way more effective. So we get more people in the door that way. This is a little bit of what's required of them. So when we were doing the shops, we think it's really important that we cover these steps. We do a greet. That's within 30 seconds. The greet is going to entail basically an exchange of information and what's your name, here's my name, can I get you something to drink and make somebody feel comfortable. The discovery stage is when we start asking qualifying questions. The most important qualifying question to set the pace for the entire process with a customer is, where are you moving? People always think people are moving because it's a great location, or no one even asks them why they're moving. When you ask why they're moving, what do you think happens?
They start talking. They start telling you everything about themselves.
They start to tell
You
you.
build your rapport. You build a rapport with them.
Correct. Discovery is exactly that. It's building rapport. But it pulls out their story. It just yanks it right out without you trying to figure it out on your own. We make too many assumptions when someone comes in the door. We make all kinds of assumptions, and then we lead them down the wrong path. But when you ask them, why are you moving, and they say to you something like, oh, well, I'm getting divorced. Well, my children are all grown up. Well, my mother's moving in. Now you have some information that you build upon. And we then take that and start drilling more questions and keeping them engaged. So we can pull their story out. We way more quickly now find out that there's a bankruptcy or whatever the information we need is. So we know how to tailor the presentation to their specific needs. If they say to me, well, we're getting married and we plan on having kids, okay, great. I'm probably going to start showing them a home that's going to have a 3rd bedroom, because that's maybe going to be important to them. So when we ask them why they're moving, and they give us a little tidbit of information, we find that out of that tidbit of information, there's 12 motivating factors that drive someone's decision. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of take you back to the last slide
Sure.
before you went on for demonstrate. I just wanted to know what you were going to say for that.
Greet, discover, demonstrate is showing a home.
Okay.
Site is making sure not only do you talk about the location that the home is on, you walk the perimeter. This is an opportunity to be able to say to a renter who's in an apartment, you have yard space, you have storage space, you have the opportunity to grill, whatever it is that you want to talk about. And then you close. Take them back to your office and close. We also, during this site, this is when we want to show the amenities in the community. So convenience, culture, ego, prestige, family, finance, investment, love, recreation, security, privacy, and yes, sex is a hot button. Not in the way that you're thinking, but yes. So these hot buttons, when people say to you location, location, location in real estate, it's actually false. It's not true. People don't buy for location. I was just sharing with Kenny that it could be a great location in like a city center hub, but it's 2 hours from your job. Do you move there? No, you don't move there. You move there because there's a driving force in your life that's causing you to move. So we have to find out what the driving force is. And then you tailor the presentation to the driving force. So, for example, Rob, where are you moving?
Job change in the area. I got to be here in about 3 weeks.
Oh, okay, Rob. So, where are you going to be working?
A GM plant.
GM? What do you do for GM?
I'm on the line.
You're on the line?
Yeah.
What kind of hours do you work, Rob?
Oh, too many hours, honestly. Way
How
too
many,
many.
how many years have you been there?
More than I like to say. Probably 15.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to be closer to your work? Is that what I'm hearing you
Yes,
say?
yes.
Okay, Rob has a convenience hot button. He wants to get closer to work. It wasn't because I have the best location. It's because he needs to be closer to work. So now, when I understand that Rob has a convenience hub button, everything I'm going to show Rob about the community and the house is going to be about convenience. Rob, I have this gorgeous site. It's a little closer to the entrance. Rob, my location here is really only 10 minutes from highways. Rob, so everything we talk about begins to tie back to his driving factor, not mine, not the last guy that left my office, but his. So it starts to feel like this was tailor-made for him, this whole presentation. And guess what, when he goes down to look at the apartment down the road or my competitor, they don't do that. They don't even have time to talk to him. They're too busy.
Use his name
Yeah.
over and over again.
Yes, yes. The sweetest sound to a person is what?
Their name?
Their name. We use customer surveys as feedback to determine what we should be doing different. We don't make the decision, we rely on the customer to tell us. 70% of companies that deliver best-in-class customer experience use customer feedback. Well, I want to be in that 70 percentile. Oftentimes we find out it wasn't so much the location, it wasn't even so much the price, because they valued something different. They valued a specific type of floor plan. They valued the feeling of a community. They valued an experience, and they note it in this. And we find that to be like so critical.
When would you have the, prospect fill that out?
We use that after closing. We send it to them after closing.
Okay.
Yeah, whether or not they're closing on moving into a rental or they're closing on moving into a home that they purchased,
Right.
we want to know that. And we like to actually send them another one about 3 to 6 months into the process. So we do this the first week that they move in, and then we'll do it again later, and that one looks a little bit different. But now, how's it been going? How's the service been for you?
Okay, yeah.
So we have a really terrific website that I'm super proud of. We have really tons of links that help us get optimized search, and we are Google certified for that reason. So we have a lot of authority. So when people look up something as general as rental homes in South Lyon, Michigan, which is the location we're going to pop up. And the reason we do that, whether it be a keyword search like rental, home, purchase, mobile, I don't care what it is, those keyword searches are going to be everything to you. In fact, when somebody looks up South Lyon Schools, I come up because I make sure that those are in my backlinks. So this is all critical stuff to help you get more leads. You just want to stay in front of people. Another thing that we do is we have syndications right from our website on every home listing that we have. That goes to Trulia, Zillow, it's going to go to apartments.com, rent.com, and that's also giving us more value in the eyes of Google. But it's also generating tons of leads because those are major platforms for us to be on. So we list the home on the rental side, we also list it on the buy side. You'll see it in my listings twice. You guys all using Craigslist? How's it work for you?
Great.
Pretty good? How often do you refresh on Craigslist?
Every
Every
day.
day.
Good for you guys. Good for you guys. So Kristina is our Craigslist expert, and she handles looking at all of the listings as they come through and posting them. I'm going to give her a little second here to talk about Craigslist.
Sure, so it sounds like many of you are refreshing your Craigslist, which is really critical, and getting your posting back on that first page. And I find that that works very well along with including the price and just something to catch their attention, and also making sure your description is more than just the 2-bedroom, 3-bath, making sure photos are presentable, because I know for myself when I'm on Craigslist, I don't even view posts that don't have photos and that aren't appealing to me. So definitely highlighting in your paragraphs and anywhere that you're posting, MH Village, Craigslist, making sure that you're highlighting great things about your home that you're showcasing. It's not just a large living room, it's a beautiful living room. It's near this location. You can highlight some of the things that are in the area within that home as well.
And you need to put stuff in there about the actual community, the amenities,
Yes,
something on
right.
why they would want to
Strong.
come to you versus somewhere else.
Yeah.
And another good thing too is you can also insert your link to your website so that you
Yeah.
can redirect to your website so that
We
they
do
can
all
get
that.
more information to you. And if you do have a call to action, then they're prompted to do so.
So all over our website, we have a CTA, that's a call to action. And what that does is it guides you down a 1, 2, no more than 3 clicks to get you to fill out something. 'Cause we want information on you. We want to call you back. We want to be able to send you an email. All you want to do on a website is make it simple. People overcomplicate it and convolute it, and that's not going to get you an extra lead by any means, but you want them to find what they're looking for. So if they're looking for a home and they need information, that's all you really need to share with them. By the way, those leads, those pre-qualification leads, they even ask for us. They ask for your social number. You don't have to fill it out. We receive about 100 pre-qualifications in a month. So we're very, very busy calling people back who gave us as much information as their social security number. That tells you something about the market. That means people need us. They need our help. We're just not making ourselves readily available and allow people to understand what manufactured housing is. So this is just one of our home pages here. We received in 2015 139,000 leads that came into our site, of which 88,000 were organic. We have some special programs. We want to give it up to hometown heroes. That's going to include like police, fire, paramedic, a nurse, teacher, and of course military. For the first year, we draw them in with a $50 off of site rent for 1 year. We have a really wonderful referral program. I think we received like 460 some leads last year just from our own residents, which was nice. We paid you. We actually pay you some money to do that. People just love it.
How much do you pay?
Well, for the first lead, it's $150. For the second lead, it's $300. And that lead has to turn into something,
Right,
of course.
that's what we do.
And then it keeps escalating. So they love it. And some people are just diehards that want to send us leads. MH Village got us 754 leads in 2015, while Craigslist was 2,800. It's pretty good. So this was a really great MH Village listing that we did. All too often, it used to be where we were auditing every single listing, and then we finally got people really trained on descriptions, and they got really good at it. So this is an example of one of our sales folks that wrote a description that I thought was really good, and they wanted to share it with everybody. Ready? If you can't, can you see it? I can read it to you if you can't. Ready for an upgrade? Thinking of picking up the pace and doing something daring? Then this will be the home for you. Join us at Woodland Ridge as we feature the Patriot by Clayton Homes. This lovely trendy home has all the bells and whistles, fully equipped kitchen, granite island. It's a home meant for entertaining all of your friends and family. You'll be the talk of the town. So what we're doing here is we're creating an image for people. This is manufactured housing. Let's get excited about it. And this is wonderful, especially when it's pulling up. That same listing went into your Zillows, your Trulia. So it was really nice for people to pull that up because they're looking at other homes in the area. Signage got us 1,216 leads. So it does tell you that the right information is super critical on signage if that many people came into our offices for that reason. Rent.com, Apartments.com, Zillow, Trulia produced 4,320 leads. And yeah, we talked about referrals from our own residents. So last year in 2015, Home First, we have 8 communities. We operate in 6 of them. 2 of them, one's pretty much full, and the other one is just one that we sort of manage for someone. And that produced 436 leads. Now, you can see it's a ton of volume, so it's a math formula. You have to drive all kinds of traffic just to get that. But 436 is pretty darn good for a family-owned, operated business. If a customer likes you and continues to like you, they will do business with you. And if they don't, they simply won't. I want to share a story about yesterday. Kenny and I were in Kalamazoo, and we were looking at competition and decided to just go in and act as a couple. So we could get some real information about a community. And yeah, it was sneaky of us, I agree. But we walk in, and the community manager wouldn't look up, and she was doing this, She could feel us right there. She wouldn't say hello. I think we waited 5-10 minutes. We were trying not to be rude. She clearly seemed busy, although no one was in her office. And she kept going like this. Finally, I was like, I just need to peek my head in and see if she's going to even acknowledge us. She goes, you need anything? No, I just stand in your office for absolutely no reason. And then she said, well, I got a minute. I guess it was early in the month and she was collecting rent. And he looked at me and said, make sure you never hire her. I said, yeah, not only that, but does the owner of this community realize that she's not actively trying to pursue moving more people in? How awful for you, Rob, as an owner, to think that somebody you employ would even think to be that way with one of your customers. It costs you money to drive business to your community. We also have a renewal rate of 82%. Kristina had a great tidbit yesterday. Why don't you share it?
Sure, so within 48 hours of a new resident coming into your community, they've already decided whether or not they will renew their lease with you.
Based on the experience you gave them. So although they may meet us and move into our community, they're already planning their move out. But if their experience went well, they're already saying to themselves, I can see myself here. Mm-hmm.
And we have days that we give them along with a candle for their move-in, so they can keep with them. It's just a welcome back that we'd like to give to them to, again, reroute back to the sense of community for them.
Resident communication, ongoing communication is really important. How many of you have clubhouses that you do activities in? Do you guys do monthly activities for your residents and keep them really engaged? We think it's important. I think it's great to have activities. We have a calendar that we put out, along with a little newsletter, some tidbits, but the calendar we think is really cool because people love knowing what events are going to go on. They're not going to join you for everything, but they pick and choose their favorites, and they're great advocates for you, but they appreciate that we do this stuff for them. We also do e-blasts. If you're familiar with MailChimp, you can communicate real easily as long as you have your residents' emails. You can even do this via text, but we use it through an email process called MailChimp. We pay $75 a month to be able to shoot out to nearly 2,500 people. And right now, obviously Memorial Day. So what we did was a week before Memorial Day, we first sent this out. We wanted to let them know we were going to be closed Monday. And then we send it out again 3 days prior, and then we're going to send it out again the day before. We do stuff like this at Christmas. We do every single holiday. So, and if we need to communicate with them, let them know that we're going to be flushing hydrants, we do it this way, and we make it fun. That was it. Any questions? Self-explanatory? Yeah.
Do y'all have cameras in your offices?
Cameras filming?
Yeah, like
Like
security
surveillance?
cameras. I just wondered if your central operation could keep an eye on what was going
It's
on.
funny because on the ride down here, I was trying to hit him up for that. But I think it would be a great idea. I actually worked for a company that did that, but they did that to help track traffic coming in the door, see the interactions occurring. And, there's always going to be, I always have somebody who's a little tardy. Luckily, I'm lucky enough that they call me and let me know. But it is nice to make sure that we're open during our hours of operation and we're staying open. That we're not, chair spinners and waiting for it to turn, 6 o'clock and we've already packed up at 5:30. I mean, we're open. We're going to stay open because people get off work at 5, so it's critical to me. We're also open 7 days a week. I know that sounds weird because who wants to work 7 days a week? But we ended up hiring support staff and made sure we stayed open. Apartment complexes are open on Saturday and Sunday. That's when people shop. That's when they're off. So if we're trying to sell homes and everybody's at work, it's not going to matter much, right? if I'm there, so I need to be there when they're off of work.
Danya, of the people that come in, whether it's phone calls or walk-ins, how much comes on the weekend? What percentage would you say?
We find that we're super busy on Saturdays.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
funny. Friday is busy. People seem to get off work a little early. They start skipping out a little early. Friday's busy. Saturday's busy. Sunday is steady. Won't be as busy. So our hours are a little shortened. We're 12 to 5 on those days. And then Monday is crazy busy. We get the most web leads in the evening, believe it or not. It's like after 9 p.m.
Just people who want one.
That's when they're home. They've washed babies, they've done laundry, and they've had dinner, and now they're doing a search. Mhm.
Can you talk a little bit about the structure that you have for your sales staff versus your management and how they're paid?
Oh, absolutely. So a few years ago, I went to Kenny and I said, well, I think that in order for us to sell more homes, we have to make it really attractive to our sales folks. Let's take away their salary, but let's up their commission. And he looked at me like I was a little insane. I said, follow me here. How many do we need to sell in this community? How many do you need in this community? And I said, let's align their goals with that. And let's make it super lucrative to where they're just like either up for the challenge, or if they're not up for the challenge, they might not be cut out for this. And this will really separate some folks. Turned out that a good chunk of my staff, and I think you're okay with this, we choked on it a little bit in the beginning, but they ranged from 80 to 150,000 a year. No salary, it's pure commission.
Wow.
Wow, it must be nice.
Thank you, Kenny.
I mean, the answer to what you did yesterday, where we asked the question, who's community manager doing sales?
All of them.
Okay. How many empty lots do you have in your community?
40.
Roughly.
40.
Okay, how many empty lots do you have?
We have 50 there.
Okay. Who else raised their hand?
30.
How many empty lots do you have? 70. 40, 50, 70. I'm at 160. No, 40 and 50. I'm at 160. I'm sorry, back there?
About 30.
30. I'm at 190. And we got 10. I'd like 200 around number. See, you got 10. So you've got collectively sitting here in the room, and everybody else who's been answering, you've got 200 empty lots. What are those worth? $430 a month? And what's that math? $80,000, $90,000, $100,000? What are those worth on value or refinancing to your owner?
40,000 apiece.
You're talking about over $1 million. You're talking about maybe, depending on who your lender is, you'd be talking about $1.5 million of value sitting in the ground. So paying your salespeople a little bit more to move those homes and fill the lots quicker, worth a lot of money. And that's something that as community owners, we just never really looked at, because this was an industry where who cared? Everybody got into the lot for free. You had a street dealer that did all the work, and now we're doing it. Sales has been more of just kind of a side business or an afterthought than what should be driving the business. And what you saw on the screen, from uniforms to customer service, started with the sales department, but it's driven all the way through our organization, and it's made a world of difference. A world of difference in how we operate. And it's a world of difference in how our residents respond, react, renew, and stay long-term, because they want to live in a community. They don't want to live in what they thought they were shopping for initially, which was just like a temporary stopover. So that's really the difference. It's incredibly worthwhile.
Engaged employees that feel like you're taking care of them will run your franchise like it's their own. And it is a franchise, so you can't be there every day. Kenny's not going to be at every location every single day, and I can't be at every single location every day. So I have to trust that they are excited to be there and want to be there. I can't get my people to take a vacation, I swear to God. I have to beg them, go on vacation this week. No, I want to be at work. That they want to be at work more than they want to be at home.
That's great.
Are all of your lots filled, or what's your plan in terms of, say, filling the lots? And what happens when a community gets full? Where do you go next? Is that where Tammy comes in?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, we're at what, 70?
Across the board, we're at about 70, almost 75%. We've got about 600 lots that don't have homes on them yet, and another probably 160 homes that will
But
be.
can you tell them where you're starting, though?
We're starting.
No, yesterday you told us how the story of the property, and you had next to nothing until you took over, and now You've got 50
yeah,
other
so,
properties.
yeah, I mean, I was hoping to get away without that story, but, I got into the business about 12 years ago. It was a family business. We had 3 small communities with some expansion, and it was probably about overall 60% occupied. And I had a father-in-law that didn't really do anything. He had a street dealer, and he had a guy that did the construction, and it was, 15 years ago, really easy. And then it became not. And so, we started to buy and grow and expand and had to start doing everything. And at some point during that cycle a few years back, we said, boy, we're really not focused on sales. What do we got to do with sales? And probably across the board at the time, we're like 52% occupied in 8 communities with about 3,000 sites. And the last 3 years, coinciding with, when Danny came on board, we've grown net occupancy about 11.5%, 12.5%, and 13.6% annually. So that takes into account that we've got right now about 680 rental homes that turn over, we probably turn over about a third to a quarter of those residents a year. But net occupancy growth is where you got to be, and you've got to fill it. In our markets, the competition is growing at 5% a year, 3% a year, staying flat. So we're way ahead of the market, way ahead of that. And so middle of last year, we said, okay, we think we know what we're doing. Some money guys started coming to us and saying, hey, can you do it for us? Can you manage our communities? We didn't really get into all the stratified, groups that we have within the company. We have our own construction and installations and whatnot, as well as controlling all the sales and inventory management. All these big funds that have been buying properties, they realize, now what do? I got 55%, my guys in New York said 90% it's a money, we print money, but how do I get there? And, so they started asking us to do it for them, and why should we? It's a royal pain in the ass, and why do all that work for them? And so we decided to go out and start to grow. So Tammy came on board with us earlier this month to head up our capital raise and acquire communities, because 2 years from now, we're going to have 3,000 sites, 95% full. Danny's going to be bored as hell. The salespeople are going to be working on other properties where they can make the kind of money they need, and we need to keep everybody busy and keep rolling. So you can do it. It's become a very tough business. But you guys are all here because you recognize it and you're trying to learn and grow and do better. But there's a lot of people just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, wondering why those customers aren't flying in the door, buying and renting their homes, and not realizing it's because of how they're selling and what they're selling.
I have a question. Where do you find good employees when it comes to, like you said, you have setup, you have all this for like crews for rehab, crews for just maintenance in general? Where have you found
Outside
good
of the
employees?
mobile home park industry.
Yeah.
I'm the only, I said yes, somebody asked us yesterday, I'm the only person they've hired from within the industry. Danya's hired a lot of our staff, but it's from the apartment world, the builders, single family.
Where are you finding them though? I understand what you're saying on that
They're
not.
all out there if you offer them good income and you take care of them. And that's, sorry guys, that's just not what our industry has ever been. Our industry has been, we disrespect our employees. We don't treat them well, we don't take care of them well, we don't pay them well. We, argue about are we paying them $9 an hour or $11 an hour? When they can go to, come on, they can go to McDonald's and make $9 an hour.
One
And-
leads to another. You have to realize when you start to hire people that are going to value what you need to do, they have a network. And so you can work off of referral that way. A couple of things that we do differently though that is important is our culture is so important, and being aligned is so critical to us that when we bring someone in for an interview, if they're going to move on, first of all, we do group interviews. So while I may hire somebody in sales, I want to make sure they get along with my other departments. So I'll pull somebody to come in and do a group interview. Kenny might hire somebody in the accounting department and say, I want you to sit with Danya. I'm going to ask totally different questions. And then we do a profile test on them. The reason we do that is we want to not necessarily see what they're not good at. We want to know what they're good at. And then make sure that they're in a role that they're going to excel in. All too often, we call it, we try to put the square peg in a round hole thing. Just because somebody did maintenance at McDonald's doesn't mean they can do maintenance on your grounds, okay? So you have to remember, we don't understand the skill set just from one interview. So taking one of these personality profile tests, if somebody is going to take a personality test and I find out they're ornery and don't like working in a team, I'm unlikely going to put them in a group setting like that. They're just not going to do well and nobody's going to like them. Or if I find out they hate talking to people, am I really hiring them for a sales position? Probably not.
Are you doing ads like on Indeed, on Craigslist?
We do Indeed. We do quite a bit on Indeed.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
We review a lot of resumes and we do a lot of folks.
Before, yeah.
And that's something that, I mean, we're getting better at. But
It's
even,
probably all about pay. If you don't pay them right, I think it's
not, no, it's,
110%.
the pay helps. But, I mean, think of where you work. You want to feel comfortable. You want to, everybody wants to be part of something great. And they want to have fun, and they want to be part of something fun, and they want, when their boss comes in, they don't want to cringe. They want to know, this is going to be great. I'm going to love when Danya comes into the community.
I think
And
the
that
other
happens.
thing is for Indeed, recently, I went in search of resumes on there.
Yeah, you can do that.
And for the area we were looking in, and just started sending out cold, because I used to be cold calling, so send out cold, emails and just, hey, I have a position open, please call me. And honestly, we were able to hire from there.
Mhm.
And then going back to the apartment industry, exactly correct. I mean, we've done wonderful with, even for the, in training on the manufacturing side, we've done wonderful with apartment and then moving them over to manufactured housing.
Exactly.
That's been great.
We, all too often I sit and listen to people doing an interview, or even when I've interviewed. Everybody wants to tell you about what they do. They don't ask you questions. So we have a list of situational questions. So I'll ask a question, for example, and I'm happy to share it if somebody wants to email me. You can email me and I'll send you interview questions so you can understand how to maybe profile them a little bit better. But I'll ask a situational question like, so as a community manager, oftentimes you've got an angry resident on the phone, it's time to collect rent, you've got a contractor in your office, what do you do first? And they look at me like, crap, what do I do first? But you're trying to do it all, right? So they take me through what steps they're going to first take. And I'll ask real things that really, really happen. I don't ask like, so, do you come in on time? Because who's going to say, no, I don't. I'm late every day. Nobody says that stuff. And I've seen those kind of interview questions and think to myself, really? And we probably used to interview like that, right, Kenny? So we've just learned along the way that you got to change everything we're doing. For so long, the industry has been blamed. We got to take the blame. We did this.
If you're selling homes, are you able to mark them up?
Yes.
Not the Clayton's.
I like her answer.
We don't make much. We certainly don't stay alive because of it, but we certainly try to buy the right, that's where buying the right product comes into play. That's when you have to find out what your customer really wants, because they may pay more for the right value. It's not the value Kenny wants it to be, because if it was up to Kenny, I'd only buy homes that were $20,000. It's what the customer wants, so he may pay more for it.
And go in it maybe a little bit. I mean, we're really not buying used homes.
And we're not buying
Except for, somebody who's on site that's got to sell their home. But, I mean, we've really moved away from that because it just doesn't work for the customer that's coming in. Aside from the pain in the ass that it is to fix them up, try to find the parts, try to make it right, and try to make it look like
And get
you
it
want
to
it
it
to
right.
look.
Yeah, and get it to it right.
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 Yeah, it's very easy to do. Yeah. Well, thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job.
Round of applause for our. I want to just a little bit ahead of time, I want to take advantage of that. But before we do, as I was listening to the ladies talk, it reminds me of something that happened, and I hate to admit this, about a good 15, 20 years ago. A company was formed in Florida called Florida Communities. And before they ever broke ground, they wanted to build 5 communities, 150 sites apiece. They wanted to build them simultaneously and then they all wanted to be staffed and filled by the end of 2 years. Now, you can imagine the work that was involved in doing that. But they laid the groundwork very carefully. And one of the things they started off with was careful when they hired their staff, was that they drilled into their staff that if a qualified person comes into the sales office, they did not leave until they bought a home. Now, is that a pretty stiff requirement on your staff? They said that's what the qualifiers were, and if they came in qualified, they did not let them go, so they bought a home. Okay? Well, here's the way they did it. They filled those 5 properties inside of 2 years, 100%. And this is what they did. They had that was their motto, their marching orders. It's the only time in all the years I mystery shop properties that on the way to each of the properties you can encounter not 1 but 2 billboards, full-size highway billboards. The theme they had, and I can no longer think of the Hollywood actor's name, at the time he was relatively famous. He shows him in a rowboat, you're looking at him and he's going this way, and you look over his shoulders and there's a manufactured home community on the horizon, and it says, "Follow me to," and it was the name of that manufactured home community. So that was to let you know that you're in the vicinity of this property. Now, with 2 of those at each property, there was 10 of those billboards around Central Florida. And then as you approached the property, oftentimes a quarter-mile out, there'd be a sign that says, "This highway lovingly cared for by the residents and management of," and the name of that central community. When you got to the homes, when you got to the entrance of the property, you found signs that looked like they were freshly painted. And you know what? They weren't. Every 6 months, they would put fresh paint on there, and, because you only do this in Florida, they would replace all the flowers out front with fresh flowers. I mean, they wanted to be pristine at all times. Then as you drove into the property, all their information centers, not offices, but information centers, were located within visual sight of the entrance to the property. They were easy to find, and as you pull at, well, they also had a welcome home sign out there with a site sign. As you pulled in there, as you approached the information center, the parking spot closest to the door of the information center, it said reserved for future residents. And so you made it kind of special. As you got out of the car and you walked in the door, nobody stayed on their seat. They were up out of their seat, male or female, and they came across the room with their hand extended and said, "Welcome to my property. How would you like a glass of fresh squeezed Florida orange juice while you fill out our guest card?" Who's going to refuse that? Now, yeah, we can't maybe do that quite up here, but we can do coffee, we can do pop. But that was the way every time you went into the property. They did not sit there and wait for you to come in, they got them and they came to you. As you're filling in the guest card, they started interviewing you and begin to tell whether or not you're qualified. If they felt that you were qualified to buy a home and they figured out what it was that you wanted, they then said, "Come on, let's go out and look at some homes. I think we have the home just for you." And you got in a golf cart and you drove out to the first home. They said, my wife and I had to use assumed names. I couldn't get away with saying George Allen's. I was Alex DeVinny was one of the names I used. "Mr. and Mrs. DeVinny, why don't you wait here at the front porch or front door while I go through the back of the house?" And, you just assumed they were flipping on the lights, checking the air conditioner or whatever. But they were doing one more thing, something that I don't know whether they just mentioned right now, but aromatherapy. Inside the back door of the house, under the kitchen drawer, were little spray cans about that tall. And as they came through the house, and they were all peach. As they were coming through the house, they were spraying the air with peach spray. When they got to the front door, they took that peach spray can and put it in a drawer up near the front of the door, or behind a cushion on a couch. And then they opened the door and you stepped back and they said, "Mr. and Mrs. DeVinny, welcome to your new home." And you stepped in, and this peach aroma just felt into your head, and there was nice thick carpet. And they didn't stand there, they proceeded to go through and demonstrate all the features of that home. And they circled back around and got to the door, and they'd stand in front of the door. You couldn't get out. "Should we go back to the office now and fill out your application to buy this home?" They forced you to say no. If you said no, they put a smile on their face and said, "I thought it might be the case, but I'll tell you what, this next one's even better for you. Come on." And if you got to the 3rd or 4th home and still hadn't bought it, guess what they did? They took you back to the first home. The point was you did not leave until you bought a home. How effective was it? At the time, we would share the shopping assignment with my wife's parents, who actually owned a manufactured home in a subdivision in Florida at the time. And over the many times they would mystery shop with us, because they were more believable than us. They were in their 70s. Guess what? They bought 3 more manufactured homes. because they could not say no. And I had to queer the deals afterwards. I was not a very popular person with a salesperson, but that's how effective that program was and how much those people believed in it and why after 2 years they filled 5 properties of 150 sites apiece with new homes. So the point is, it's possible to be done if you think it through ahead of time, and think of these very pointers that Danya and Krista shared with you and put them in place for you. So I wanted to just share that little anecdote to just underscore the effectiveness of what they talk about. I've got exactly 3 o'clock. We're not supposed to be done here until 3:15, that's fine. I want you to take a good 10-15 minute break. Please be back in your seat at 3:15, and this will get us out a little sooner, okay? Unless you don't want to leave sooner. So take a break, back in here about 10-15 minutes.